Southern Virginia University women's volleyball from the Knight Sports Arena. I'm Jim Bresnahan, joined by Coach Tom Peterson. We are ready to bring you Knights women's volleyball tonight as the Southern Virginia University Knights, with a record of 7-4, will be taking on the Emory and Henry Wasps from Emory and Henry University. The Wasps are 4-9 on the season, and Tom, these two teams have some common opponents. Of course, Emory and Henry out of the ODAC. They both played Washington Lee, both lost to Washington Lee. They've also both played Roanoke College. Emory and Henry recently lost to Roanoke 3-1, and of course the Knights just this past week, a couple of days ago, were able to defeat Roanoke in a straight sets, 3-0. So hopefully that bodes well. That stat right there, how they've done against Roanoke College in the last week or so. Hopefully that bodes well for the Knights tonight, and hopefully they can continue that winning streak and go to 8-4 on the season.
Yeah, if you look at the stats, you would think that the Knights would be favored this evening, but you never know. Momentum in volleyball is just unreal sometimes, but it's a home court advantage. The other night, there was a great crowd for the Knights, and if they show up tonight, which it looks like they are, it's going to be a good night, I think, for Southern Virginia.
You know, after losing to Washington Lee a couple of Saturdays ago, they've run off 3 straight wins over Maryville in the second match on Saturday, September the 9th, in the Washington Elite Tournament. They also defeated Mary Baldwin on September the 12th, and as we mentioned on Wednesday, they defeated Roanoke. If the Knights can win tonight, they'll be 8-4. They do play at Roanoke next Monday, and if they could pull out, let's say, a couple more match victories tonight and next Monday, then ideally, Tom, they go in with a record of 9-4 and a lot of momentum into their Capital Conference opener a week from tonight against Salisbury.
Salisbury's a good team. It's one of the better teams that they start off with, so it will be important how they're playing when they play that very first match.
Yeah, they've got Salisbury next Friday and also hosting Wesley a week from tomorrow. And I think you mentioned it, Salisbury and Wesley are two of the better teams in the Capital Conference,
yes,
at least in the non-conference.
That's exactly right. And it's nice last year, they didn't have quite the record the Knights did. Last year, it was a little bit of a struggle every now and then, and now it just seems like the Knights are winning all those close matches that last year maybe was a struggle, and now this year they have the momentum, so they should do very well in conference.
You know, earlier on Wednesday during the match with Roanoke, we had a chance to talk about some of the assistants like John Baker and Tom Snelson. Good chance also, before we get this one underway tonight, talk a little bit about what a job Nicole Gwynn has done, the third-year head coach, of course. Just a couple of years ago, the Knights volleyball team able to make the Capital Conference tournament. I believe maybe the first team in athletic history at SVU to go ahead and make the Capital Conference postseason tournament. She's done a remarkable job in just a few seasons, really, just taking this volleyball program really to another level.
I'm really impressed with Nicole. She's one of the better younger coaches in the country right now, and she's very good.
And the Knights get the opening point, thanks to that kill shot by Tiggs that was blocked out of bounds by Emory and Henry. So we're underway, and the Knights claim the first point of the first set tonight. Allred serving for the Knights. Knight will kind of mishit that setup. It looked like Gwynn and Allred couldn't decide who were going to take it. Now we'll see what the Knights do here. Good dig there by Allred. And they'll go to Gwynn.
Good long rally.
Crockett. Now to Knight and to Gwynn. No one will return that one.
It's good to win, especially the very first long rally of the match. Get the momentum on your side. And here comes another good serve by Allred.
I believe that was Penny Gwynn's 128th kill this season. Allred's got 123. That's a pretty good match right there between those two, as Gwynn picks up another kill, her 129th of the season. It's going to be interesting maybe towards the end of the year, and it probably doesn't mean too much for the players, but just to see whether it's going to be Allred or Gwynn who tops the team individually when it comes to kills at the end of the year.
You know, that's a good battle between them. If you can make that into a battle for the good, not against each other to try to outdo each other, but to just do good for each other, then it really is fun.
That serve a little long, so it's 3-1. Emory and Henry is on the board with their first point. Serving for Emory and Henry is Allie Singleton. She is second on the team in kills.
Now that was Lindsay Heyer. That's a position, the middle hitter in that particular position. If the Knights can get a little bit more out of that particular position setting in the middle, it'll really help them.
They fake going to Heyer and instead go over to Tiggs, and the lefty is able to get the spike to go. Yeah, Heyer has been a tremendous freshman for the Knights this season, as has another freshman who just came into the game in Haley Lonis. And boy, what a tremendous season she is having. Third on the team in kills this season.
Yeah, she's. I think I said the other match, she's going to be a really fine player.
There's another kill by Lonis.
Yeah, as you can see, they like to set her a little bit farther away from the setter.
Yep.
Give her a little time to get a good approach, not just always a real fast set, and she's got a good arm.
And so the Knights now are on top here 5-2, and here's the serve by McKinley Knight. Good dig there by Allred. Gwynn, that set was a little too far for Gwynn to reach, and the point will go to Emory and Henry.
Yeah, they called a double on the setter, it looks like.
So it's 5-3 now. Allred couldn't decide. It looked like whether she wanted to let that go or take a shot at it, and she was kind of caught in between.
That's right. Yeah, sometimes the ball, the air current in the gym just drives the ball down or up. You just never know.
Coolidge serving here for Emory and Henry, as the Wasps have closed to within one, and another kill by Gwynn.
Well, so far they've set a lot of balls outside and also to the middle in this particular rotation, but their outsides have always been their power for the Knights. So I expect I expect that Penny Gwynn I think she's in the front row right now. She's going to get a lot of swings tonight.
Miss hit on that serve by Hoteling, so the point goes to Emory and Henry. The Wasps now serving to the Knights. Crockett will set it up for Allred, and she hits her kill a little short, hits the net. Point to Emory and Henry.
Yeah, for those that don't know volleyball rules exactly, when you're in the back row, you have to stay behind that 10-foot line, they call it. It's actually a 3-meter line, but behind the 10-foot line, if you're in the back row, you can still swing at the ball as long as you jump from behind that line.
And it obviously makes it very difficult to hit kill shots from back there.
Yeah, it's a lot harder.
Service error for Emory and Henry gives the Knights the lead back. Gwynn serving now. And that shot by Emory and Henry is too long. And so Gwynn will serve again with the Knights on top here, 8-6. Gwynn, who led the team in kills last year with 285. That shot by Emory and Henry sails long.
I guess we could almost say here's the dynamic duo for the Knights. When Gwynn goes back to serve, then Allred is in the front row, and they both get lots and lots of sets outside.
Gwynn serving again. Good block. Knight gets it up in the air, and looks like it's going to be too many hits on the Knights.
Yeah, they called it a double again on the second. The first contact, the rules really allow the first contact. You can almost mangle the ball, but if it's the second contact, it has to be more strict. You can't really lift the ball or mangle it at all.
Set for Allred. Emory and Henry doing a good job on that to get it back across. They'll set it this time for Lonis, and it is returned, blocked and returned by Emory and Henry. And the Wasps are having a pretty good first set here for a team that came in with just 4 wins on the season.
Yes, and if you look at that, the middle blocker from the Wasps followed the middle hitter from the Knights and left. I wouldn't leave Allred alone very much.
Allred attempting to get the kill, blocked successfully by the Wasps. And Emory and Henry really doing a good job hanging right with the Knights here in set 1.
All tied up.
This time the set will go to Lonis, and she pops it over the net. Good block by Allred. Allred will tip it over and get the point. Good decision there by Hannah Allred, recognizing the last couple of times her attempt at a hard kill didn't work, so she just tapped it across.
Yeah, and the Wasps actually didn't have anyone up in the front row to get the tip.
Here's Lonis serving. Good low serve there. Good block, but it's blocked out of bounds, and the point will go to Emory and Henry.
10-all.
And now serving for Emory and Henry will be Rebecca Morehouse, a junior out of Kingsport, Tennessee. Knights will go to Allred. Good, strong kill that time.
Again, I think it's going to be a long evening for the Wasps if they just leave one of the outside hitters alone for the Knights. Their middle blocker, the Wasps' middle blocker, really looks like they dedicate and commit almost in the middle. We'll see if they change that.
Marie Crockett had a good serve. Tipped over. McKinley Knight over to Crockett. And now Tiggs. Returned by the Knights. And that time, Emory and Henry able to get the point.
Yeah, a little indecision on giving somebody a good swing at the ball.
Now Hunter Baxter, or make that, looks like it's going to be Sam McCauley, who leads the Emory and Henry Wasps in assists with 400 assists this season. She'll serve.
Look for the ball to go to Allred is my guess right here.
It did. And now Gwynn can't get over.
Yeah.
Knights have hit a little cold streak here.
Yeah, they need to pass the ball up to the setter every single time that they can so they can get a good transition. And now you see that Allred comes to the left side of the court, so they'll have Teagues go to the other side, even on serve receive.
Crockett will get it over to Gwynn. Not really in position for a hard kill. Knights try to block. Good block at the net. And the Knights not able to get that back across. Crockett diving. Tiggs not able to get it over. And Emory Henry has jumped in top here, 13-11 now.
Yeah, ball control for the Knights right now. They need to pass well here. Still a bad pass.
Yeah. Allred will tip it over. Emory and Henry able to get that back over, it looks like. They do for a point. And Emory and Henry has jumped on top here, now 14-11.
And a timeout by the Knights.
Well, even against Roanoke, Tom, even though the Knights were able to win in straight sets, it was really in the second half of each set when they really did most of their damage, when they really were dominant. And we'll see if that turns out to be the case here in set one tonight against Emory and Henry, because Emory and Henry is jumped on top 14-11. So 14-11, and we'll see what the timeout does here for the Knights.
Yeah, I don't even remember the Knights having to call a timeout match the other night.
Been a while. We had the Eastern Mennonite match, obviously, to begin the season, first home match. Don't recall any timeouts there. Of course, Roanoke was the team that was calling all the timeouts on Wednesday.
Right. Well, let's see how they do on passing here.
We'll see what the Knights do differently coming out of this timeout.
Lindsay Heyer, if she can get a kill in the middle, that will still open up the outside for the Knights. Let's see if they get a good pass up where they can do that.
Sam McCauley again serving here for Emory and Henry. They've gone on a run to take a 3-point lead here in set number one. Emory and Henry 4-9 on the season. Knights 7-4 on the season. Allred. And then luckily, the shot by Emory and Henry, they had a great, easy look at it.
Yeah, that was...
and it went out of bounds, so the Knights kind of got a big break there.
a big break. Very lucky. That was a ball that they could have just hit to the open court, but they tipped it out instead.
And the Knights pull within two here at 14-12 with Allred serving. Allred to Crockett. They go way over to Tiggs on the right side. Emory and Henry gets it back over. Who will Crockett set it for this time? Gwynn. Good dig by Emory and Henry that time to return it, and they get the point. They are really doing a pretty good job here. The Wasps are occasionally getting those returns back over on the kill attempts by Gwynn and Allred.
Yeah, and if you looked at that rally, I think that was the only time that they swung the ball, either side. And now we've got either side just needs to swing hard. Good things happen when you swing hard.
Crockett will set up Gwynn, and not going to be able to return that one. Big point there for the Knights.
Yes. Now they need to get the momentum going here with a good serve. McKinley Knight back to serve. She has a good serve. Look how far back she starts her approach.
Knights really do need a 2 or 3 point run here. Try to even up the score. And that one is out. So 2 in a row for the Knights. Southern Virginia trying to go to 8-4 in the season. They're 7-4 right now. Emory and Henry came in 4-9. That is going to be a service error for Knight. That hurts.
Yeah, just as they could have tied it up, now they're back by 2 again.
Snaps that 2-point run the Knights had going on. Wasps on top here by 16-14. Counted set 1. Lonis got it over.
A lot of tips going.
They'll try Tiggs with a good, strong shot. Emory and Henry got it over, but there's Lonis to drive it home.
Yeah, good things happen when you swing at the ball hard.
So it is 16-15, and now Hoteling will go ahead and serve for the Knights.
The serve should be in. Good serve.
Emory and Henry just gets it across. A little tip over by Crockett. And Lonis not able to block it, and then just wound up hitting it twice, and the point goes to Emory and Henry.
Yeah, too many tips by both sides, I think, right now. Keep swinging away. Just give somebody a good swing.
Allred kind of mishit that one. Crockett gets it over to Hoteling, and she can't get it back across. Now the Knights are in real trouble here in set 1 as Emory and Henry has pulled out a little bit to 18-15 lead. Another point for, nope, looks like the Knights will get that one, so it's 18-16, and that was an important point for the Knights to pick up as they are now within 2 with Gwynn serving.
Yeah, kind of a missed opportunity for the Wasps.
Good low serve there by Penny Gwynn, but Emory and Henry driving that kill home.
Just wide. Point for the Knights.
Yep, it looks like they're going to wave it off, so it's now 18-17, and the Knights have a chance here to go ahead and tie. See what Penny Gwynn can do on this serve. And Emory and Henry miss hits, but they still get it back across. Crockett setting up. Allred, and it's tied up at 18.
Finally, a good set for Allred on the left side. And for some reason, the Wasps, it's one-on-one again, and Allred's going to win that battle most every time.
Let's see if the Knights can keep this string going. Another good low serve by Penny Gwynn. Good dig there by Knight. Over to Lonis. Emory and Henry will try for the kill. Good set to Lonis. She tips it over to the right side. And Allred is able to get the point for the Knights. So the Knights have jumped on top now 19-18. Well, you wonder, Tom, if the Knights pick up another point or two, if Emory and Henry might call a timeout.
Yeah, the momentum has switched towards the Knights.
Let's see who Crockett sets up. Lonis. But it's going to be Emory and Henry picking up the block at the net and the point.
Looks like the Knights have just a little bit of trouble when they're trying to set the middle hitter, and it's either right next to the setter or behind. Seems like they could just push it out to like right there.
Good block by Emory and Henry. Allred will try again with a little tip, but the back line of Emory and Henry able to grab that one. Crockett will set up Lonis this time.
There it is.
Yeah. Good set by Lurie Crockett. And it's driven home by Lonis, the freshman, and the Knights are back on top by a point. And Lonis will now serve.
Yeah, that's the sweet spot for number 14, Loans, hitting that ball in front of the setter.
Knights will try to keep this streak going. Good block by the Knights. Higher, I think, got that block.
Oh, the referee called that that ball didn't go over, so that would have been 4 hits, she called.
And the Knights now have a 2-point lead, and a timeout looks like it's going to be taken by Emory and Henry here. So Emory and Henry will call the timeout. The Knights called a timeout when they were down, I believe, 14-11, and since then they've gone on a run here of 10-5 to go from 3 down to 2 up.
Yeah, momentum switches in volleyball. It's just incredible. And a timeout, you have 2 timeouts, and deciding when to take them is very, very important to try to switch the momentum.
So 21-19 is your score right now. The Knights are on top here by 2. Mentioned the Knights will be in action on the road Monday, and then that big home weekend to open up Capital Conference play next Friday, next Saturday against Salisbury and Wesley. And again, those are 2 of the better teams, maybe the 2 best teams as far as non-conference records are concerned. And what a weekend that would be if the Knights next Friday and Saturday could win both home matches, and what a great start that would be in the Capital Conference.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, that would put them in the driver's seat if they could win those 2 matches.
Here in set 1 of our match tonight against Emory and Henry, the Knights are just hoping to get the next 4 points to claim set 1. Emory and Henry has really battled here in set 1 against the Knights. And a kill driven home by the Wasps. It was a good kill shot by Allie Singleton, who is second on the Emory and Henry team with kills this season. Came in with 130, right behind Holmberg, who has 132.
Yeah, you saw by the Knights they had 3 people blocking at that time. They just couldn't block it down.
Crockett will set up all red. And no stopping that one. It's 22-20 Knights. And now it looks like Tiggs will come in replacing Hoteling. So the Knights again have a 2-point edge.
Now, if you see, the setter is in the front row for the Wasps, so the block can just go load up on 2 hitters on the other side.
Blocked by Allred and unreturnable before Emory and Henry. And now the Knights have a 3-point lead, and they are just 2 points away from a hard-fought victory here in set 1, and another timeout is taken.
Yeah, that was a needed timeout. Just 2 points away from the first set. And when you get a chance to look when play resumes, watch the Knights, if you will, their blocking scheme. It's an interesting, and I really like how they do that, where all 3 blockers, if there's only 2 hitters in the front row plus the setter really is not dumping very well. It's a shorter player, and they can't hit the ball down themselves, so they put all 3 blockers where the only 2 hitters are. The left side blocker, which is all red right now, just gets right on top of where the middle hitter could hit the ball, and that allows the middle blocker for the Knights, which right now is Lindsay Heyer.
Yep.
She can go to her right, and they can kind of load up on the outside hitter. It's a very, very good system.
Well, one thing's for sure, this team does not get rattled. They struggled early in this first set against Emory and Henry. Emory and Henry actually took a 14-11 lead in this first set, but it doesn't look like the Knights were really phased at all. They did call that timeout, and obviously things start really turning around in their favor after the timeout, but it just doesn't look like this team panics at all.
Yeah, so far they've been very, very consistent. It's impressive.
Crockett with the serve. Knights 2 points away from a set 1 win. Blocked by Heyer and tipped over by Allred. Now the Knights will try to set it up. Tiggs gets it over. Good save by Knight. Over to Allred. She goes down the line for the point. Boy, she saw the opening down the left side.
Yeah, good scramble play by the Knights, and then a really nice play by Allred, a senior, being smart to just throw the ball over the head down the line.
Good dig, too, by McKinley Knight.
It was a very, very nice dig.
And a miss hit on the serve, and the Knights win the first set, 25-20. What a turnaround in that set for the Knights, who trailed 14-11, but they end up winning it, Tom, 25-20.
Yeah, they really turned it on when they needed to do it. I think their ball control got a little bit better during that last half of that set. I actually think that if they can just be even with the other teams, they have a very good chance of winning just because of all the power they have on the outside and the two seniors, Allred and Gwynn. And then everyone else seems to be contributing now as well. So as long as they can get the ball up to the setter, they have a good chance of beating anyone.
We're just a couple of minutes away from set 2. We'll take a little break here from the Knights Sports Arena. Coach Tom Peterson, the head volleyball coach for the men's volleyball team here at Southern Virginia University. And it's the Southern Virginia University women tonight taking on the Emory and Henry Wasps from Emory and Henry University. And the Knights were able to win that first set, Tom, 25-20. After that, again, they were down 14-11 at one point. They called a timeout and really turned things around since then. And Emory and Henry tried to use a couple of their timeouts late in that first set, but to no avail. The Knights just were really unstoppable.
Yeah, second half of that set, the Knights played very, very well. In fact, their ball control got better and better, and they just have the power to overpower other teams. They just have to keep that ball control up, and what I mean by that is passing the ball up to the setter.
And you've talked about in the past how important the second set is in a 5-set match.
Right. In fact, many coaches think the second set is the most important set.
Knights trying to set things up. It goes to Gwynn, but it is blocked to the net by Emory and Henry for the point. When you look at the roster, Emory and Henry just doesn't have a whole lot of players. What you mentioned, they think they came in tonight with just 10 on the roster?
Yeah, it's a little unusual. You can do that, but we don't see any freshmen on the team, so it's an interesting lineup that they have. Not sure why they wouldn't have any freshmen on the team and only 10 players, but they're playing very, very well, though, with these 10 players.
Tiggs making a great decision to tap that one for the point, so it's 1-1 here in set 2 with McKinley Knight serving for the Knights. And a miss hit by Emory and Henry gives the Knights their first lead here in set 2.
Yeah, number 14, Haley Loans, is just getting better and better. She's a freshman middle blocker for the Knights, and she's just has a good court awareness even as a freshman. It's impressive.
Good low serve by McKinley Knight. Good block by the Knights. Was that Lonis or Gwynn who had the block there?
Gwynn looked like she got all of it that time. It really is fun. When you get a solo block like that, it's really, you don't call that a solo block because the middle was there, but when you get all of it, you sure like to celebrate. It's fun to watch them.
McKinley Knight serving. She's the sophomore. Having a heck of a game so far, and a service ace thanks to the tip of the net.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. I was always leery when they brought in rally score and let the ball hit the net at any time, that would happen for match point sometime. But during the game, it usually evens out, so I don't really care about that. But I just don't want to lose a match when the ball hits the net like that.
McKinley Knight with another serve as the Knights try to add to their early lead. Good block by Southern Virginia. Over to Gwynn. And no returning that time for the Emory and Henry Wasps as Lauren Coolidge attempted to get the dig and could not touch that kill shot by Penny Gwynn.
Yeah, if Gwynn just gets a shot like that, she can swing hard. It's almost always a kill right now.
Emory and Henry, I think they had a double hitter out of bounds.
Yeah, the ball has to go inside the antenna when you hit it over the net. It just went outside the antenna that time.
So the Knights are really surging here. A few more points. Maybe Emory and Henry is going to call an early timeout here in set two. Almost an ace there. Wasps able to get it across, but it goes to Tiggs. It's blocked out of bounds, and the Knights have their 7th point in set two.
Very nice play. Crockett set the ball reverse.
Yep, there's a timeout.
Yeah, there's the timeout. It's fun to watch the setter. A good setter, the action is either one direction or the other on the side of the court, to the left side or the right side usually. And reverse flow is when you set it to the other side of the court. And that was a perfect reverse flow set by Crockett. A nice play and a great hit as well by Teagues.
And a much-needed timeout by Emory and Henry. Again, going back to that first set, they had a 14-11 lead. The Knights were able to rebound for a 25-20 victory. And on top here, big time, with 7 points already here in set two. And the Emory and Henry coaching staff can recognize this match is really starting to get away from them.
It is, actually. The crowd is into it now. It seems that here at Southern Virginia, in the middle of the second set, the crowd, you look out, there's a lot more people, and they really get into it. But yeah, this set, if they don't get back into it right now, it's in my mind anyway, it's just a huge advantage for the Knights the rest of the evening.
Yeah, you know, we started at 7 o'clock, about 6:45. It looked like it was going to be an average crowd, and then as you mentioned, just a few minutes after it starts, you look down and there's people everywhere.
And that happens with our matches as well, the guys. And I don't know, we ought to advertise that the match starts a half hour later so everybody gets here. But I don't know why that is, but it's fun.
Emory and Henry able to get a point after that timeout. And you'll see that quite often after a timeout, the team calling the timeout. Maybe, I don't know what the percentages would be. I would imagine up around 70% or so, seemingly, that they are able to get the point.
Yeah, I think you're right. You call a timeout for a reason. And a little strategy to not try to change momentum, usually if you're the one calling timeout. And it's a good percentage of getting the next point.
And Emory and Henry's now picked up 2 in a row. Serving to the Knights, who are trying to get back on track here. Good kill by Alonis. Back across, skims the net. Knight will set up Tiggs for the point.
Now, we've said this a bunch of times. The lefty, number 12, Teagues, when she's on her right side of the court, you can either go to the left side to a power hitter, they call them on the left side, but Teagues is also a power hitter because she's left-handed. It's usually a little harder to set a back set to someone, but she's left-handed, and it's a little bit easier for them to hit on the right side.
Tailing serving for the Knights. Emory and Henry, that shot is out. Knights are on top here now, 9-2. 9-3 make it, 6-point lead for the Knights. Knights had a 7-1 lead, and then Emory and Henry able to pick up 2 points in a row. Now the Knights have picked up 2 in a row, and there's a service error, too long on that serve by Hoteling, so now 9-4. Still, the Knights have a comfortable 5-point lead here.
Yeah, you just don't want to serve the ball out when your momentum is your way. But you do want to serve tough as well. You're going to miss every once in a while if you're serving tough. But the Knights have to be careful not to let the momentum switch because of a missed serve or mishandled ball.
Who will the Knights set up this time? It's going to be Lonis. Returned by Emory and Henry. As the Wasps will get it back across, but the shot is too far, and the Knights have their 10th point. So the Knights reaching 10 here, and they just need to they don't need a big string of points in a row. They don't need really 3 or 4 points in a row. At this point, the rest of the match, side out, will work it for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing number 14's name exactly correctly. Loans, I think it is. But there's the play. That every time that they set the ball in front, maybe 6-7 feet away from the setter, and it's not a real fast set. Loans just seems to power that ball down. If I were the, I don't know, keeping statistics, I'd say, hey, keep doing that, keep doing that.
Yeah, she did it that time. Emory and Henry gets it back across over to Allred. Tipped by the Knights across. And they pick up the point with some indecision on the part of the Wasps. Not sure who was going to take that at the front line.
Yeah, it looks like it is getting away from the Wasps just a little bit.
Question is, on your second timeout, when do you want to take it?
Yeah, you just can't go too long.
And that shot is too far.
Yeah, I wouldn't wait much longer than now. 13-4.
So the Knights had struggled in that first set, but again, remarkable the way they have turned it around since midway through the first set.
Yeah, now they're in a groove.
Good block by the Knights. Good set there by Gwynn, and Allred unstoppable with that kill shot.
Yeah, I've said before that Allred seems to like to hit it cross court or in the middle of the court a little bit more than down the line, but when she does swing it down the line, she's got a lot of power. That was a good hit.
And Gwynn will serve now with a 14-4 lead. Tipped over, good block by Allred. Crockett to Allred. Blocked out of bounds by Emory and Henry. 15-4 Knights.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yep, there comes the second timeout.
That was actually a hard call. It hit the net as well. Did it hit the block or not? And that's a judgment by the referee. She thought it did hit the block.
So the Knights have a 15-4 lead. Again, they won the first set, 25-20. Again, they were trailing in that first set, 14-11, and then they were able to outscore Emory and Henry 14-6 down the stretch. And when you count this, 15-4 lead, they've outscored Emory and Henry since that 14-11 deficit, 29-10, I believe.
Wow, yeah, that's impressive in itself. The Knights really have it going right now, and now the Wasps will be out of timeouts. And as you said, all they have to do is just play even with the other team, and they're going to win by a comfortable margin. But you want to get the momentum going into the last set. Sometimes you play not to lose a little bit, and then the momentum switches on you. So still be very aggressive. Just don't miss serves, especially out of the timeout. This should be a good serve for Gwynn.
Do you ever talk to your teams about that? And once you've got a team down or on the ropes, don't let them off?
You have to be aggressive the whole time.
Yeah. Can't let up.
Exactly.
See if Emory and Henry can get a point here, or the Knights just keep rolling. It'll go to Lonis. And another great kill by the Knights.
Well, that was a good play that time. And back of the setter to the middle hitter. Loans, nice slide, they call it. Take 1 foot takeoff behind the setter. And that time they were able to connect. They've had trouble in the past, but it looks like they're getting better at it.
Blocked over by Allred. Tipped now by Haley. And they'll set up Allred. Emory and Henry taps it over this time. Crockett gets it over with a double hit, though. And the point goes to Emory and Henry.
Yeah, just a mishandled ball. Trying to go deep with it, though, was a pretty good idea. Just didn't quite get all hands on it, all fingers in order to do that.
Knights aren't going to worry about 1 or 2 points as long as they don't turn it into Emory and Henry runs, obviously.
Yeah.
And it'll go to Lonis. And it goes over. Emory and Henry will try to get the ball back across. Great
Nice,
save there by the Knights. Good block. Allred, Lonis both there.
And you see that the setter's in the front row for the Wasps. So, again, that blocking scheme where all the blockers from the Knights can be on top of the hitters.
So it's 17-5 now, a 12-point lead for the Knights. Haley will serve here, and that one hits the net, so it's 17-6.
Yeah, I think I like this quote by A League of Their Own, a show a long time ago.
Yeah.
And also, what is the quote from Moneyball, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Saying, hey, when the enemy's making mistakes, don't get in their way. So we just can't serve the ball out after a timeout.
Yes, I can remember Brad Pitt saying that. Allred, another great kill. You know, we mentioned coming in that Gwynn had 127 kills and Allred had 123, and that was going to be a great individual battle down the stretch. You know, last year, Gwynn had 285 kills, Allred right behind her at 279.
Yeah, both of them seniors this year, and they help each other. They really cheer for each other. It's fun.
Allred almost got an easy point that time, and the Knights are able to get the kill thanks to Heyer.
Yeah.
Lindsey Heyer doing the job.
Now that's the one position, the second middle blocker we call it, not the middle blocker next to the setter, but the one farthest away from the setter, the middle hitter, middle blocker for the Knights. We need to get, or the Knights need to get, a little bit more production out of that particular position. And now we have another player into the match, and I believe it's
Lasike. She's a freshman out of Las Vegas. And we saw this the other night when the Knights were able to really pull on top big time ahead of Roanoke College. The Knights were able to do a lot of substitutions. In addition to that substitution, we've got Arnold coming in, the 6'2 sophomore out of Winchester, Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's a big block now.
And the Knights with another point.
Well, just as I said, that's a big block. Arnold able to get her hands up, and she's tall and get over the net. It's going to be hard to get through that block.
And she is 6'2", and just a sophomore. Crockett serving, and that one hits the net and rolls over. I believe that's the second service ace thanks to the net that she has had, or was it McKinley Knight the first time maybe? I think it was Knight the first time, and Larry Crockett this time.
Just a little bit insult to injury on that one. That's the second one for the Knights. Like I said, it usually evens up, but not so far.
And if you're Emory and Henry, how do you put the second set especially, because you played pretty well in that first set, how do you put it behind you and get ready for set three?
Well, now if it continues like this, which it looks like it's going to, even with that ball right there. In fact, I'd like it when they swing at it overpass, not tipping it.
So it's 23-6 now. The Knights are just rolling here in set two with Crockett serving again.
But now there's a 10-minute intermission between games 2 and 3, or sets 2 and 3. Oh, they called a lift or a double on the setter once again.
So it'll be a point for Emory and Henry to make it 23-7. Yeah, just a matter of what kind of emotional makeup Emory and Henry can put together between set 2 and set 3, and you know what their spirit level is going to be perhaps like here for set 3 coming up in about 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, under these conditions, you're thankful if you're the Wasps that there's a 10-minute break, and that could change momentum a little bit.
Let's get it across, needing 2 more points for victory here in set 2. Good block.
I think they called a net. No,
they give the Knights the point.
Yeah, it looked like it must have been a net on the Wasps. Going up against a 6'2 player is tough, and sometimes you just kind of put a little extra effort, and sometimes you hit the net because of that.
Set point for Allred serving.
Oh, that's a nice serve.
And the Knights get the point and the victory in set 2.
Yeah, we're in a position where you could see the ball coming directly at us, and you could see the ball just going to the air current in the gym, just taking it to the other side.
So it was a 25-6, 25-7 victory. And so the Knights win that second set, 25-7, after they won the first set, Tom, 25-20. So the Knights, again, down 14-11 in set one. They go on to a 25-20 victory, and then they just really ran away from Emory and Henry in that second set, 25-7.
Yeah, if you're the Wasps right now, you kind of have to figure out what you're going to do a little bit different, and almost anything you try to do. But if everything kind of continues the way it is, both teams play decent or well. I think that tonight it is the Knights' night, I guess, as a pun. So the Knights really have the momentum. I think they match up well against this team, the Wasps.
And now we've got that lengthy break coming up here between set two and set three, with the Knights on top 2-0. They are just one set victory away from a match victory tonight, and that would improve them to 8-4 in the season if the Knights can win one more set here from the Knight Sports Arena. We'll take a little break from the Knight Sports Arena. Jim Bresnahan and Coach Tom Peterson bringing you all the action tonight of Knights volleyball. Sports Arena. Very dominant. The Knights, again, taking the first two sets, 25-20 Knights in the first set, 25-7 Knights in the second set. And Coach Peterson, when you look at the team stats through two sets, obviously it speaks volumes about how dominant the Knights have been.
Yeah, one of the stats that you always look at is hitting percentage. Hitting percentage means the number of kills that you get minus the errors or the blocks that you have against you, and then over total attempts. And right now, the Wasps are hitting negative as a team, negative 175 to a positive 276 for the Knights. That's kind of a shellacking, actually, so far.
Hannah Allred leading the team with kills in the first two sets with 10, 17 assists for Laurie Crockett. And Allred also had 7 digs. Gwynn had 4 digs. Crockett had 5 digs.
Yeah, Hannah Allred with 7 digs. That's impressive.
McKinley Knight also with 9 digs. And
well,
what a tremendous first two sets McKinley's had.
Yeah, and she's a freshman. She's just getting better and better. She's a good libero now, and she'll just get better.
Knights trying to get off to a good start here in set 3 to put this match away for their 8th win of the season. Good strong hit there by Tiggs. Good block by the Knights. Good block again by Southern Virginia. Knight setting up. Allred for the point.
Boy, that first point, that's even a little bit discouraging. I think if you're the team that tips it and then tries to hit it and tips it and hits it again, and then the other team does get the point finally, it's a little discouraging.
And the Knights are off and running here in set 3 with a 1-0 victory or 1-0 lead. Again, they won the first two sets, 25-20, and also 25-7, and that served by Allred short, so it's 1-1.
Yeah, the toss on that serve took Hannah Allred just a little bit out of what her normal path that she had to. She tossed it off to the side.
And now Emma Crawford is serving for Emory and Henry, and that serve is too long, and the Knights are back on top here 2-1.
Yeah, trading missed serves. And one of the things you don't want to do, you always talk about as a team, times not to miss. And here's a time because you don't want to miss the person missed before you. It's hard.
Emory and Henry gets it across, and the set will go to the other side for Tiggs, and the point comes to Southern Virginia. Good strong kill there by Allison Tiggs.
Yeah, the Wasps have to honor the outside hitters from the Knights, and it really does allow that right side to be a little bit more open. And when Teague swings, she can swing hard. When she gets a good approach, she swings it very well.
Good block by the Knights. That was Gwynn and Lonis, I think. Gwynn especially. It's 4-1 Southern Virginia now.
Yeah.
4-1, and McKinley Knight will now serve here for Southern Virginia. She's had a service ace tonight, one that hit the net and tipped over, as did Crockett. And Crockett not able to return that one, so the Emory and Henry Wasps pick up their second point here in set 3.
Yeah, that was a nice swing by Tori Holmberg that time. It was a high hit. Actually, I thought it went over the block. Very nice hit.
She came in leading the team in kills for Emory and Henry, and I think that might have been her first kill tonight as the Knights pick up one.
Yep.
5-2 now.
A swing in the middle of the court is good. The more that the Knights can do that, it's good for them.
Now here's Brookie Johnson serving. First time tonight, 5'8 junior out of Idaho. So Coach Gwynn is able to get a lot of new faces in there, working people in as the Knights lead 2-0. And Gwynn not able to get that over.
Yeah, a very fast set. You have to be a little more precise when you're setting the ball very quick and low to the outside, and that time it was just past the antenna.
Good strong serve by Emory and Henry. Gwynn over. Emory and Henry blocked by Lonis. Here's Knight setting up to Crockett.
Oh, that's
to Haley. The sophomore drives it home for the 6 point.
There's that play again. It's not a real fast set in the middle. It's that was time is 3-4 feet high and to the left side of the court for the middle to just go swing at it. She hasn't been stopped yet.
Gwynn serving again. And Lonis right there to knock it. And looks like the point will go to the Knights.
Yeah. One thing that I would say for both teams that they could do just a little bit better, there are enough overpasses when the serve makes the passer pass it either very tight or over the net. The other team doesn't seem to be always ready for that overpass to hit it, and sometimes they tip it and sometimes they tip it out.
So it's 7-3, and a timeout is taken, and Emory and Henry is just really trying right now, I guess, Coach Peterson, to keep this close, keep themselves within hailing distance, because, again, obviously if they lose this set, they lose the match.
Yeah, as long as it goes the same momentum, it's going to be tough for the Wasps to come back just because of all the power that the Knights have, especially on the outside. They can just kind of bomb away. But if they're in system, what I mean by in system, if they can get the ball to the setter where the setter doesn't have to scramble to set it, the Knights really have a big advantage. But I think that the Wasps are at least getting into the positive percentage right now, at least for this set. So that's an improvement.
Well, we knew going in that Gwynn and Allred, they were going to be really dominant on the front line. But when you look at the people like Haley Lonis, Kaylee Rath, also we saw in set 2, the 6'2 sophomore out of Massachusetts, Arnold. I mean, they've got a lot of good players besides Allred and Gwynn at that front line position.
They sure do. And the middle blocker there, as you see, Lonis, she's a freshman again. I don't want to keep saying that, but she's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, the Knights now have an 8-3 lead. Gwynn serving again. Knights trying to make short work of the Wasps here in the third set. And it'll be Haley shooting it a little too far that time on the kill attempt.
Now, I think the Knights can afford to try all these different kinds of sets. There that was a slide once again. That's in back of the setter off one foot. But they haven't connected as well as Lonis can in front of the setter, that little lob in front of the setter.
It's now 8-4. Brookie Johnson over, and the set by Crockett to Allred. Good block by the Knights. Looks like the Knights will pick up the point. That'll be their 9th point. Yeah, the Knights have not only been dominant with the kill shots, but they've been very dominant defensively at the net.
Absolutely. They have a good blocking system. We talked about this last match. It's a swing block system, but it's kind of modified. They don't take a full swing with their arms. So they're still able to get up in the air because they swing block, but they get there quick because it's a modified swing.
Allred blocked by Emory and Henry. Allred hangs with it. The set by Lonis, and Allred with the kill.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a disadvantage. If you look at the Wasp setter, she's a shorter player, and it's hard for her to get up and block somebody who's 6'1 or 6'2 like Allred. It's very hard to go do that.
Knights serving again. They've already reached 10 points here in the third set, and that one hits the net and comes back. So a service error for the Knights.
That looked like it wanted to go over, but it said, hey, I've done that twice, and I'm going to go the other way this time.
Yeah, that's happened once for McKinley Knight, once for Laurie Crockett tonight, where it hit the net and tipped over for a service ace. This will be Brookie Johnson to Crockett. Oh. Knights were a little confused about who was going to take the kill that time. Oh, what a dig by McKinley Knight. She gets it over to Crockett, and they'll go to Gwynn. Good, strong shot by Penny Gwynn. Allred will tip it. And that shot by Emory and Henry is too strong and too far, and good decision by McKinley Knight to let it go.
McKinley Knight. Getting a lot. She's leading the team in digs, leading both teams tonight as well as the other night. It's impressive to watch a freshman play that well as a libero.
Yeah, they've got some good backcourt players too, like Crockett and McKinley Knight, and now the Knights have 11 here in set 3. Oh, Crockett almost had a great save that time.
Almost, and I think McKinley Knight would have had that if it had gone past the setter.
So McCauley serving here for Emory and Henry. She came in with 400 assists. Leads, obviously, Emory and Henry in that category. Crockett will set up Gwynn. Hits the net. Goes over. Emory and Henry gets the kill in return. And so the Wasps are trying to make a little run here in set 3.
When I looked at the statistics for the Wasps, it said that their setter had a lot of attempts on kills, so that must have been a wrong stat because we haven't seen her even attempt to dump the ball this evening.
11-6. Tiggs, left-handed, gets it over to Allred. Let's see if Emory and Henry can get this back across. They do. Crockett will set it up on the right side to Tiggs. Emory and Henry gets it over. Now the Knights will try to go to Gwynn. Back across. And I think we had maybe a double hit.
Yeah, double hit, mishandled ball on the setter.
12-6 now.
I think if both teams go back, but I'm thinking of the Knights in particular, they've had many opportunities on overpasses to hit the ball, or a set that's not exactly a great set, but still an opportunity to swing, and they've decided to tip, and they really haven't killed a lot of tips, so they ought to just keep swinging at the ball, it seems.
Tiggs got it over. Now the Knights will set it up on the left side for Gwynn, and it is out.
Now, if you're a coach, that's fun to look at, and you say, hey, great swing, because it goes off the hands of the block. It wasn't a great approach by Gwynn, but she hit the hands, and then if you hit them just right, the ball's going to get deflected out of bounds.
If you hit it hard enough in the right direction.
Exactly.
Or the right angle, I guess.
Yeah, some players just have that knack. It's
Allred to Crockett, over to Tiggs. It is
blocked. Blocked, but out of bounds.
Yeah, blocked out of bounds. Point for the Knights. 14-6 now. So it's 14-7 to make that a 7-point lead. Still, the Knights are rolling here. 14-7 on top. Again, to repeat, they won the first set 25-20, 25-7 here in the second set. And here in set 3, they've jumped on top 14-7 with another timeout taken on the court. Emory and Henry recognizing if they don't turn it around the next couple of points, they're going to be swept in straight sets.
Yeah, it's even difficult right now. 14-7, just play even below par the rest of the way. The Knights should win this match.
A reminder that we've got a full day of athletics coming up on Saturday for you. We've got football at 1 o'clock. Southern Virginia taking on Kane, the Kane Cougars in New Jersey Athletic Conference football action tomorrow at 1 o'clock. From the fields at Southern Virginia University. That'll be followed at 5:30 by women's soccer as Southern Virginia takes on Salisbury. And then following that contest at 8 o'clock, we've got men's soccer. Southern Virginia taking on Salisbury. So football at 1 o'clock, followed by a soccer doubleheader. Women at 5:30, men at 8 o'clock.
A lot of sports, a lot of activities for the next few weekends.
And the volleyball team, as we mentioned, women's volleyball will be in action Monday on the road at Roanoke. And then again, next Friday, next Saturday, Capital Conference play begins. Wesley and Salisbury coming up next weekend. Here's Allred serving with a big 14-7 lead. And Tiggs with that kill just a little too far. It's 14-8.
That was a good pickup by the Wasps and a good swing by Gwynn. She finally just hammered an overpass, but someone happened to be right where the ball was being hit.
We'll see how the Knights do down the stretch. If they let up a little bit and we go point for point, or if they put together another streak. Here's Gwynn. Oh boy, no stopping that.
Now that's a good play actually by the middle hitter, Lindsay Heyer. She took a blocker up from the Wasps, and a little short set put the Knights one-on-one on the outside.
15-8. McKinley Knight serving here for Southern Virginia. Crockett will set up Tiggs. And another point for the Knights.
You know, when you're confident, you're winning, it just seems like you even swing harder. Right now, Tiggs is just swinging very hard at everything she gets, and good things are happening. That lefty on the right side.
She was third on the team with 191 kills last season.
Yeah, and I want to say the year before she may have led the team in kills.
Another point for the Knights.
It's kind of getting away now. 17-8.
And McKinley Knight serving again. Don't know what's been more impressive, the front line work of people like Lonis and Gwynn and Allred, just to name a few, or maybe the back line work of Lurie Crockett and McKinley Knight.
Yeah, I think you just said it right there. They're working together very well. And as a coach, you'd like to think that too. Hey, everything's working for us.
Point goes to Emory and Henry that time. 17-9. And Emory and Henry, they came in with a record of 4-9. Knights came in 7-4 on the season with a 3-game winning streak after losing to Washington Lee.
Good hard
block.
swing.
Here is Lonis. That's a double hit off the ceiling. Same player hit it twice.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you give Lonis a kill on that, but she swung so hard in that sweet spot that I've been talking about. It was very hard to get a dig where they could control the ball.
18-9, and Brookie Johnson getting a lot of playing time tonight. 5'8" junior out of Idaho serving for the point. Knights have had a few service aces tonight, and Johnson picks up one there for a 19-8 lead.
Good serve by Johnson. Another good serve.
And that one's too strong.
And that was a good eye by Johnson, too, letting the ball go out. She gets another chance to serve a good, hard serve.
Knights pulling away, just 5 points away from a match victory tonight. Looks like the referee talking over at the scorers table for a momentary break in the action here. So it's 20-9 right now. The Knights on top here by 11. Again, they won that second set 25-7. And again, going back to that first set, Tom, it was 14-11. Emory and Henry was actually on top in that first set, 14-11. And it's been just mind-blowing how the Knights have turned this around, the entire match around.
Yeah, once they got going, I think that for the Wasps, if you're the Wasps, you thought, well, we have a good shot at this. And then all of a sudden, oh, what happened? But the Knights playing very well now. But a missed serve. No, a point for the Knights, it looks like. They called that ball in.
Yeah, by my count, since being down 14-11 in the first set, they've outscored Emory and Henry, I believe, like 60-22.
Wow.
Just an amazing turnaround here since set one, midway through set one, as the Knights get another kill.
Yeah, Lasiki, that's a nice swing by her in the middle of the court. And as I said, it would be nice it'd be good for the Knights to get more swings, more kills out of the middle by their middle hitters.
Yeah, she is, again, a 5'11 freshman out of Las Vegas, Nevada, went to Centennial High School.
And that's a good program. If you follow high school volleyball at all, Centennial High School in Vegas is a very good program.
Brookie Johnson with the error on the service. So now the Knights are just 3 points away from the victory, and there is the kill by the Knights. That time it looked like Kaylee Rath, the sophomore out of Grass Valley, California, doing the job. And she'll go ahead and serve you.
Yeah. I've seen Kaylee, by the way. She has a very nice arm. She didn't swing as hard as, she didn't have a great approach for a very low set, but I've seen her swing very hard at a ball.
Nice block there by Crockett. And now it's match point. And an error on the serve. So Emory and Henry will stay with us for at least one more point.
Miss serves.
So it's 24-12. Still, the Knights have plenty of chances here for match victory, including one right here on the serve by Emory and Henry.
This should do it. Oh, it's a very low set.
All right, got it across. She goes for the block and gets the block for the match victory. The match point goes to Southern Virginia, and they win it 25-12.
Impressive win for the Knights, and they're gonna need that when they get into conference play. But right now they're on a roll.
So after being down 14-11 again in set one, the Knights were able to turn it around by outscoring Emory and Henry 14-6, and then you toss on the 25-7 and 25-12 scores in set two. and set 3. And again, in set 2 and set 3, they outscored Emory and Henry 50-19. So you could see after being down 14-11 in set 1 how dominant Southern Virginia really was.
Yeah, when you first look at the first set, I thought we were in for a very good match.
Yeah.
And then the Knights just took over. And I'm sure that the Wasps, the hitting percentage at the end of the evening was still negative, and you're not going to win very many matches that way. But I'm very sure that the block for the Knights had a lot to do with that.
And so now the Knights are 8-4 on the season after they lost to Washington only a couple of weekends ago. They have won 4 in a row. They've got Roanoke on the road Monday, and then, of course, they return home next weekend, next Friday and Saturday for that big weekend doubleheader in the Capital Conference opening games for the Knights. As they'll be playing Wesley and Salisbury next weekend. It'll be next Friday against Salisbury, and then next Saturday against Wesley. And if the Knights can win against Roanoke on Monday, they'll go into those 2 conference matches, at least on Friday, against Salisbury with a record of 9-4 in the season.
Yeah, I'm not sure when the Knights were the last time, but that particular record. But it's a good record, and they should be very confident when they play Roanoke again.
Yep.
They matched up very well last time, and they've got it rolling. So I would favor them heavily against Roanoke once again. And if they win that match, then anything goes against the top teams from the conference.
And Coach Nicole Gwynn has done a great job putting this team together. Again, as we've talked about throughout the match tonight, a lot of talent on the front line, a lot of talent on the back line.
You know, and what's impressive as well, maybe I haven't said it enough, is what they're doing overall. I know I pick out the outside hitters, how powerful they are, and they're seniors and all, but they're adding with everything to that. McKinley Knight in the back row as the libero, their middle hitter, Lonis is coming on, and if they can get a little bit more, percentage-wise, and a few more swings out of the other middle position, now they're a very rounded team. The lefty Teagues can hammer a ball, and that's really nice. You can't just load up. If you're the other team, you don't know where to block because you got all options.
And like we've heard, repeatedly from other coaches in other sports, you'd love to win the conference regular season, but really the goal is, if nothing else, to win enough games, enough matches in this case for volleyball, to get into the conference tournament.
You know what? I think they've got a great shot this year to get to the conference tournament. Even if they don't win the conference, they're one of the top teams in my estimation right now. And just because they're playing the very, very top team, I hope that the fans realize that. And, if they happen to not beat every single team in the conference, they should know. The fans should know that this is a very good team, and they should come out and watch.
Quick check on the individual stats. Hannah Allred leading the team in kills tonight with 12. Tiggs, Gwynn, Lonis, they all had 7 kills, and 27 assists for Larry Crockett and 11 digs for McKinley Knight.
Yeah, very, very impressive. The hitting percentage itself, 375 for Tiggs. Now that's a big improvement for the lefty Tiggs on the right side of the court. 375, that's huge actually. That'll take a lot of attention away from being able to block the outside hitters. So great job by Tiggs tonight.
And obviously, as we talked about, between set 2 and set 3, Emory and Henry really struggling with their percentage tonight.
Yeah, and let's point out Hannah Allred once again hitting .400 this evening, and I think she led the team the other evening as well. She's probably hitting over .400 for a couple of matches now, and that's any coach at any level is going to take that.
And really with some great stats tonight. As we mentioned just a second ago, she led the team in kills tonight with 12, but she also had 9 digs.
9 digs. Usually the tallest player that's out on the court is not going to get the most digs, but that's impressive. Yeah. She's either in the right spot. When you know how to read, we call it. So where the hitter is hitting, and I'm going to get there in front of the ball. Some players have to develop that. Some just have a knack. Some put it all together with the knack and experience. And Hannah, sometimes there are nights where she's in the right spot all the time.
So congratulations once again to the Knights. They are victorious tonight against Emory and Henry, and they improved to 8-4 on the season. A reminder about all the webcasts tomorrow coming up. Busy athletic day here at Southern Virginia University. Football, the Knights will be taking on the Kane Cougars from the fields at Southern Virginia University tomorrow at 1 o'clock. That'll be followed by women's soccer against Salisbury at 5:30, and then men's soccer against Salisbury at 8 o'clock. We'll have all those games for you coming up on Saturday from the fields at Southern Virginia University. Again, Southern Virginia women's volleyball winning tonight against Emory and Henry, 25-20 in set 1, 25-7 in set 2, and 25-12 in set number 3. The Knights are now 8-4 on the season. That's going to wrap things up from the Knight Sports Arena. I'm Jim Bresnahan for Coach Tom Peterson, Craig Reese, our director, and all of our fantastic production staff here at Southern Virginia University. Thanks again for joining us, everyone, for Knights Volleyball. Have a great evening.